Hello out
Hello.
there. We're standing here with Mo from LRG, LGBT Rights Ghana, who's head of the what department? Communications department.
The communications director.
Yes, thank you.
And we just want to ask you about the work that you do, first of all.
Yeah. Well, I am basically my team, my department basically is responsible for everything that goes out of LRG, every messaging, every so basically we do PR for the organization and the community as well, because we represent the community and also the community trusts us and they are with us. So whatever we put out, we are very conscious about it, and it's from consultations from the community, from the executives, from all parties involved in the movement building. So that is basically what we do. We put out press releases, communiques, we send out letters, like open letters to general officials. I think last year we sent an open letter to the president. Yeah, and also like liaise with media houses to talk about queer issues. So now whenever there's anything about queerness in the media, they call us. So basically that is what we do.
But I would be thinking more when it's like such a homophobic climate right now that it would be tempting to kind of hide somewhere and make as little noise as possible. Why you're not doing that?
I mean, the whole idea of starting LGBT Rights Ghana was that we came together and we realized that the narrative of queer people in Ghana is literally the opposite of what it's supposed to be, and we need to correct those narratives. And one of the burning questions we always get from the general Ghanaian population is, oh, the queer people you're talking about, where are they? Like, where are they? So we were like, if the movement is going to grow, there has to be faces attached to the movement. This also would inspire other queer people to be themselves and come out and also join the fight. So that was the whole idea about starting LGBT rights. It came with visibility, it came with like vigorous activism, grassroots activism. So there is no space for us to hide. We cannot hide because now the whole country know who Alex is. They know who I am. Because we are constantly in the media talking about queer related issues. So we cannot hide anymore. There is nothing to lose anymore. Yeah.
And when you're saying to correct the narrative that's currently like the wrong narrative, what is like the narrative in like the general media conversations about queer people here in Ghana?
Queerness is viewed from the bad lens. There is nothing positive about queerness when it comes to narratives in Ghana. So you're always finding facts like, oh, queer people have what? Queer people are the ones who are always going to the hospitals to fix their asses, like they're getting fixtures and stuff like that. Yes, it's wild. And then again, the biggest one, queer people are the ones responsible for AIDS. So these are like
that's really something that people are talking about.
Exactly. So that is the kind of narratives we are trying to push out, for them to see the real queer people, not the boogeyman queer thing that has been drawn in their minds from time immemorial.
Yeah. So what have been like the reactions so far to like the advocacy you've been doing?
I would say it has been positive because we didn't know the kind of support queer people had in the country until we started like vigorous advocacy. When the space shut down, there was a lot of emotions because it hasn't happened before. Like the only time you hear about gay people is when it's negative. But then now the queer people have come together and they've opened a center, a social center. Oh my God, how did that happen, right? So it became a huge thing. So now people started asking questions, and then we also utilized the moment. That is actually when the communication department soared, because now we had to go on a lot of like media runs, PR, and we had to put out narrative like, no, this is not true, this is false. So like we had to do all those things, and that actually made so many people knowledgeable about the issues of queer people. We have people who generally come to us and be like, oh, I want to know about queer people. Like, I know that I want to know. So we've become the epicenter when it comes to information for queer people. So people come to us.
That's great.
And I think for me and Alexander, the only reason why we knew that your guys' organization existed was through your social media.
Yes.
And that's your team.
That is, yes, that is handled by my team, myself and my team. And that is actually also the backbone of the movement, because we started off as a cyber activism group before we grew up to become like this movement of queer people. And we've been able to utilize the social media platform very well. And I think our organization is one of the examples of how you can use social media for social change.
And some people might recognize you from having seen you in media and stuff like that. How much thought do you give to that you might run into reactions from people that recognize you?
Of course, you can find people who are looking at you, and in some ways, you know that they've recognized you. But on the contrary, I have actually had people walk up to me and be like, "Oh my God, I like the work that you're doing. It's amazing."
Okay,
yes,
wow.
I have actually had that. Even though like we consciously don't go out, like we don't. Since last year we have our movement to like public spaces have been very controlled, because we don't want to put ourselves in a dangerous situation. So we don't really go to some spaces. But in Accra Mall, it's quite okay because it's open and it's very diverse and it's very quite safe. And it's easy because if something happens, I can just pick a car and go. I don't have to like go. It's not difficult for me to get a car. So yeah.
No, but I can imagine more if I was like closeted Ghanaian, that maybe I go into some of your social media accounts and I can see and I read and I'm curious, and of course just to see that hey, there's people just like me, that must be extremely encouraging.
Oh yeah, like personally, it's quite sometimes it's difficult for me to see myself in that light, but then that's what we have become. We have become like this representation of what queerness can look like in Ghana, and people are actually like banking on that and coming out. We've seen a lot of people like being themselves on social media who are like queer, and they're like, you can find them on TikTok. So a lot of queer Ghanaians doing queer content and media, and it's really nice. And they are the ones who come to us, oh, I want to do this, what do you think? And we give them like advice and guidance, because they see that we are out and we are safe, and they want to also know how we do it. And it's good, because the more people who are comfortable with themselves and they're out, the more representation we get, and the more the movement grows.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. Shit, I love the work that you're doing.
Wow, that was so nice speaking with Mo about what his team is doing. It's really impressive.
Yeah.
I've seen the social media channels and whatever they put out there, and I've kind of thought about it from the lens of, it's nice that they're telling the rest of the world what's going on in Ghana for the queer community, but I haven't really thought so much about the aspect that, well, they also have a lot of local followers, of course, and maybe even a lot of closeted queer
That's
Ghanaians.
amazing to hear that there's such a like symbol that some people at least are out there, like queer and proud. I think they're also acting as role models for all those like people who are not out yet. It's
very,
amazing
very necessary
that
role
aspect
models.
of it.
It's so important spreading the word far and wide that we're here, we're going nowhere. I was really inspired by that, and
Me too.
It just makes me want to support them even more.
Exactly. And if you guys are also thinking that it's like amazing work that they're doing, then you're still able to donate through our GoFundMe link that we're gonna put in the description. So
it all goes 100% to LGBT Rights Ghana, to the communications work, with spreading the word, just being visible, and to the community building and everything that they're doing here. So keep following the YouTube channel. We're gonna share even more interviews with the different department heads, and so that you get a good impression of what the organization is doing. But please don't wait, go down into the GoFundMe and show that you also want them to continue this work.
see you.